All right, welcome back. Today, we're jumping right back in with the Misfortunate Bastards. And oh boy, things are about to escalate. We're gonna see how a simple dungeon crawl spirals out of control, taking them from one shaky bridge to a full-blown citywide conspiracy. And really, that's the central question for this whole part of their adventure, isn't it? The bastards, they were just looking for a bit of a fight, maybe some gold, standard stuff. But what they found, well, it was a plot that stretched from the deepest, darkest caves right into the very heart of the city of Cauldron. So, Act 1. It all kicks off with a classic test, a real trial of skill and, let's be honest, pure nerve. It's just one obstacle, but it's going to push their teamwork and their luck to the absolute breaking point. And what is this big test? It's something brutally simple. It's not some crazy monster, not a magical trap. It's just gravity. Imagine this rickety rope bridge swinging over a massive, dark chasm. The source material paints a picture of this thing just barely holding together. The danger is right there, in your face, and the stakes, well, they couldn't be higher. So you can probably guess what happens next. This whole crossing turns into a complete disaster. Indy, our nimble rogue, she goes first. And she slips. She's literally screaming as she gets slammed against the cliff, and the only thing that saves her is Garth's pure muscle on the safety rope. She tries again and fails again. Okay, so next up is Toril, the super confident swashbuckler. He gives it a shot, and his knot fails. He just barely manages to grab the rope himself. So it's pretty clear at this point that strength and agility just aren't cutting it. It actually takes Indy's quick thinking, using a 10-foot pole to steady herself, to finally get across. But of course, the second she does, the trouble is only just starting. Yeah, the moment her boots hit solid ground, orcs just boil out of the darkness. Indy immediately gets tangled up with one. Garth, still on the other side, tries to help by yanking the rope, which just sends Indy and the orc crashing into each other. Then this orc just charges across the bridge, straight for Mathis the cleric. It's pure chaos, but it's also where you really see the party's dynamic shine. Garth rushes in and just cleaves the monster in two. Rothan, the wizard, whips out his wand of sleep and takes a couple more orcs out of the fight. The rest of the party is just laying down covering fire. It was so messy, a really desperate win, but they pulled it off by throwing everything they had at the problem. Okay, so the bridge is behind them. The bastards push deeper into the darkness, and right away, the whole vibe changes. The threat shifts. Dramatically. They passed that physical test, for sure. But now they're about to face something truly unholy. They enter this chamber, and it's filled with these horrible, echoing screams. And there he is. The source material calls it a sight most foul. It's a bugbear, and he's tormenting this poor hobgoblin captive. And the party knows instantly this is their target. This is Drakthar, the vampire. But before they can even make a move, before they can spring their trap, the room itself comes alive. Yeah, you heard me. A throne, made entirely of bones, just gets up. It animates, becoming this undead guardian that starts swinging with this insane, unnatural force. It's a terrifying welcome party. And you know what's crazy? This isn't even the main event. So while the party is trying to deal with this bone throne, Drakthar decides to show off his real power. He literally dissolves into mist, crawls up the wall like a spider, and just hangs out on the ceiling, completely untouchable. The whole fight just descends into madness. They're frantically trying to fight a piece of angry, living furniture while the main bad guy is just laughing at them from above. And here's the part that just crushes their morale. They're fighting for their lives, right? They're landing what should be crippling blows. They're taking hit after hit from this bone thing, but nothing they do even touches the vampire. It's like swatting at smoke. It's only after Drakthar seems to get bored with the whole thing and just vanishes deeper into the darkness that the bone throne finally gives up and collapses into a useless heap. So, what did they get for surviving that nightmare? What was their big reward? A big, fat nothing. 0. After all that, they find absolutely no treasure. All they have to show for it is bruises, exhaustion, and the chilling knowledge that a super powerful vampire is still down there, somewhere. And you know the final straw? It comes when they stumble into yet another room and are immediately blasted by lightning from these weird blue-scaled lizards. And that's it. They're done. They've had enough. They just slam the door shut and decide we're out. They retreat to the surface, totally battered, almost out of resources, and they desperately need a new plan.
But the world back on the surface has some surprises of its own waiting for them. As they crawl back into the city of Cauldron, the entire story just pivots. It's not a dungeon crawl anymore. Suddenly, it's an urban mystery. The danger is still there, believe me. It's just wearing a different mask.
So they come out of this old, forgotten bathhouse, and the city is weirdly quiet. They follow the sound of a crowd and find pretty much the entire city gathered by the lake for this huge concert. There's a singer on stage, a woman named Izzy, and her voice is just divine. It's this beautiful, totally surreal scene that could not be more different from the horror they just crawled out of. And then they see it. Projected on a massive screen right behind this angelic singer is a symbol they know all too well, the sigil of the Red Claw Guild. Now, this is a group they've had dealings with before. So what in the world is a semi-secret organization doing sponsoring a massive public concert? None of the pieces are fitting together. Just as the concert ends, the whole stage just vanishes like smoke. And the plot thickens big time. A little boy wriggles through the crowd, comes right up to Rothan, and presses a note into his hand. It's from Izzy, the singer, and she wants to meet them right back at that same bathhouse they just came out of.
So they have this secret meeting, and Izzy lays it all out. Turns out she is a member of the Red Claw, and that whole concert, it was just a cover. She warns them about the real threat in Cauldron, an evil cabal called the Cagewrights. Their symbol is a black bird trapped in a cage, and their whole deal is using these horrific things called soul cages for, well, domination and despair. She tells the party to watch for their sign, but also makes it clear they have to keep their connection to the Red Claw a complete secret.
And with that, it hits them. Their entire mission has been, well, a lie, or at the very least, a total misdirection. They thought they were just on a simple pest control job, a straightforward physical task. But now they realize they've stumbled right into the middle of a complex conspiracy run by some seriously shadowy evil organization. And suddenly, it all starts to click. The goblins they were sent to clear out, that whole dungeon, maybe even the vampire, it was all just one tiny thread in this much, much larger and more terrifying web of intrigue. And it was all spun by the Cagewrights. The Misfortunate Bastards, they were never the main characters here. They were just pawns in a much bigger game. And so, that leaves us with the big question, doesn't it? The Bastards went looking for treasure and glory, a classic adventure. But they found something so much darker. So what are they now? Have they just been promoted from glorified exterminators to the heroes who are destined to save the city? Or have they just painted giant targets on their backs, marking themselves as the next victims for the soul cages?